Alright, so you're going to make sure you get your date, your page number, your learning target, and your title, and you get all this stuff down in your table of contents. This is going to be the last way that we learn to solve a quadratic equation. It's called the quadratic formula, and this way works every time. Factoring only works if it's factorable. If you get an easy, nice answer like even a fraction or a whole number. However, this will work every time, no matter how ugly the answer is, wherever it crosses the x-axis. Alright, so make sure that you get this formula down. This is called the quadratic formula. And anytime your equation is written as follows, ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, that means it's in standard form and it's equal to 0. You can find the solutions by plugging it in to that formula. Alright, so we're going to start by looking at example 1. First thing you need to do is make sure it's equal to 0 and it's in standard form, and it is. Then I need to look and see, okay, well if that's the case, then I need to go ahead and identify what is A, what is B, and what is C. And when it's written in standard form, the number in front of x squared is A, the number in front of x is B, the last number, the constant, is C. So that would make A in this case a 1, because there's a 1 in front of your x squared. B would be -7, and C would be 12. So now all you have to do is you're filling in this formula at the bottom. So it's x is equal to the opposite of B. Opposite of -7 is +7. Plus or minus the square root of B squared, be careful to use parentheses here, minus 4 times A is 1, C was 12, all over 2 times A was 1. Now all you have to do is follow your order of operations and just figure out what this function is. So inside here, I have to do everything underneath my square root first. So I'm going to start by squaring -7, which means everything else is just going to come straight down. And -7 squared is -7 times -7, which is a +49. My next step will be to multiply. So I'm going to multiply all these things together. -4 times 1 times 12. And everything I didn't touch will stay. So this 7 on the outside, this plus or minus, this square root, this 49, and at the bottom this 2 times 1, which you can go ahead and turn that into 2 if you'd like. -4 times 1 is -4 times 12 is -48. Alright, so I can still do more inside my function, inside my square root. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I've got the 7 on the outside, the square root of whatever that is, all over 2. Well, 49 minus 48 is 1. Okay, so my next step, I can tell you what the square root of 1 is. It's 1. So everything else is going to stay. I had 7 plus or minus 1, because the square root of 1 is 1, all over 2. So that means x is equal to both of these things. It's equal to 7 plus 1 divided by 2, and it's equal to 7 minus 1 divided by 2. Well, 7 plus 1 is 8, divided by 2 is 4. So one of my solutions is the ordered pair 4, 0. Another one of my solutions, 7 minus 1 is 6, divided by 2 is 3. And that's the ordered pair 3, 0. Now, that should make sense. This is your solution. You're finished. But you can also solve this one using the factoring method that we just did. And if I did that, I would have gotten what multiplies to give me 12, adds to give me -7, and that would have been -3 and -4. When I set both those equal to 0, I would have gotten opposites, +4, 0, and 3, 0. So you can see that you do get the same answer, and you will get to choose which method you want to use. I just gave you this one because it's an easy one that works out with nice, pretty easy whole numbers. The ones you're going to work with in class later will have some ugly answers that aren't factorable. Alright, so example 2. It needs to be equal to 0 before I can start, and in standard form. So to make it equal to 0, the first thing I need to do is move this 8 to the other side. And when I do that, this becomes x squared minus 2x minus 8 equals 0. Now it's in standard form. Now it's equal to 0. So that being the case, I can go ahead and identify A is 1 because it's the number in front of x squared. B is negative 2 because it's the number in front of x, and C is my constant, which is negative 8. So I'm going to fill in my formula. X is equal to the opposite b, so the opposite of negative 2 is positive 2. Plus or minus square root of b squared, be careful with your parentheses, negative 2 squared, minus 4 times a is 1, b is negative 8. All over 2 times a is 1. Alright, so working inside my square root first, I need to square negative 2, and everything else is going to stay. 2 plus or minus square root of minus 4 times 1 times negative 8, all over 2 times 1, which you can go ahead and make that 2 if you'd like. Negative 2 squared is positive 4. So my next step would be to multiply all this stuff together. Negative 4 times 1 times negative 8, which is going to leave everything else the same. 2 plus or minus square root of 4 all over 2. And when I multiply negative 4 times 1, I get negative 4 times negative 8 gives me a positive 32, so this would be plus 32. Okay, I can still do more in here. I can do 4 plus 32, which is 36. So I've got 2 plus or minus square root of 36 all over 2 times 1, which was 2. And the square root of 36 is 6. So my two answers are where x is equal to 2 plus 6 divided by 2, or where x is equal to 2 minus 6 divided by 2. 2 plus 6 is 8, divided by 2 is 4. 2 minus 6 is negative 4, divided by 2 is negative 2. So my ordered pairs are 4, 0, and negative 2, 0. And again, you could have factored this one to solve. That's how you got nice, easy numbers. However, it makes it, we're just practicing with easy numbers, and you're going to get harder ones in class.